Joined now by the authors of Walk This Way. It is Joel Nellis, who is a walk-on at Wisconsin. And Jake, you got to say your last name, Jake, because this is a classic Wisconsin name.
Yeah, Kocorowski.
I was going to say Kocorowski, honestly, but I thought, okay, you better say it first, and then you see, where it goes from there. Welcome to the program, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
What is it about the Wisconsin walk-ons, seriously, for both of you guys, that really makes the program the lifeblood of what it is?
I think for me, having been a part of it, it was easy to see going through that each guy kind of contributed a certain amount to the team, sort of unrecognized. But then as I left the program and sort of kept following it, there seemed to be names popping up every single year of guys that were not only just contributing in a mild way, but taking over starting positions or becoming captain or then getting drafted or undrafted to the NFL and continuing to have success. And so it's been really neat to see that pipeline that was started and all of a sudden just continue to grow and grow and grow and really become a very critical part to the success of the program year after year.
So now I got to say Jake Kocorowski. Jake, you went to Wisconsin and you're familiar with the walk-on stuff, but as you did research for this book, did you realize it was as prevalent or as great as what it is?
Yeah, being a student at UW, I watched him. I watched his roommate Jimmy Leonhard, who's now the defensive backs coach. So you get that sense of, obviously it's a big impact on that program with that walk-on tradition. But yeah, as you start, even when I was a kid, the '94 Rose Bowl, where I remember the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel having Milwaukee Journal, I should say, having those trading cards inside the newspaper where you see a Joe Panos, a Darryl Bevel. You didn't know Joe Panos was a walk-on. I was, 10, 11 years old at the time. So you start doing more and more research, and when I started the article at Bucky's Fifth Quarter, which is kind of the predecessor to the book, this long form talking about the walk-on tradition, it just started developing more and more. Their captains, their NFL draft picks, the defensive player of the year in the NFL, and J.J. Watt. And so everything continues to build on, especially what started with Coach Abbrederis back in 1990 when he came in, and that was one of his focal points, was creating a strong walk-on tradition. You start with that with a Chris Hine, a Corey Manley, a Joe Panos, and now you see where it's at now, where Joe Schobert's an All-American, now a fourth-round draft pick playing for the Cleveland Browns. You see Alex Erickson returning punts and kickoffs for the Cincinnati Bengals as an undrafted free agent, and Leonhard, 10 years in the league and loved and beloved by his former coaches. It's really just, you see the tradition and how it's just grown, and it's been an immense pleasure to document what they've all gone through and what they've meant to the program.
Now we're going to get into dangerous territory because I'm of a certain age that Joe Panos is almost the same age as me. I would argue that he is the most important walk-on because he kind of set the tradition and became one of Barry Alvarez's greatest captains. Do you guys agree or disagree?
It's interesting. We had a good talk about Corey Manley actually being that guy, and that was someone that Mike Lucas had brought up as someone that he really felt, and obviously he wrote about. To me, it's really Jimmy. I mean, it always. Yeah, obviously, I'm partial. Jim was my freshman roommate, and we continue. We're still great friends today, and it's the guy that everyone comes back to in this newer age, sort of when that transition, obviously didn't have any Rose Bowls under his belt, but, it's still that guy that you just look at and say, that to me is, he wasn't, he's very quote-unquote undersized, and really came out of nowhere to some people's eye and became an all-American.
I'm from Rice Lake, so yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah, we're still getting close. Exactly. So came from this small town, has this really good feel, but then, he was lights out, and he was a competitor, and as much as you want to, people would throw the Rudy at him and this and that, he was a player, and he was an achiever, not an overachiever.
And Jake, who do you, in your opinion, who would be arguably the most important walk-on? Would it be Joe or would it be somebody else?
I think Joe, obviously being a team captain, the first walk-on, to be a captain that, has been documented with Wisconsin since 1990. It was huge, and just the impact that he made in the program. You talked to Joe Rudolph and saying how he gave the offensive line a voice, and really stepped up there and also stepped up for the team. And coming from Division III, from Whitewater was, a huge step. And you've seen that with Matt Unertl, even for that matter, back in the late 90s.
Brian Ramchick now at left tackle.
Absolutely, and UW did tell us that he consider him as a walk-on because he did walk on to the program. So yeah, you see that tradition there. I have to go with Leonhard on that. Jimmy is just the way that his story is developed and coming from, and he didn't redshirt. He played all 4 years. And so I think that's a great story. I think another great story, though, for adversity is, Whitnell's own Joel Stavi.
Yeah.
And, obviously up and downs in his career, battling that mental block in 2014 after not being named starter. Talking with him, talking with others, you get a sense of how much he went through. And it's a testament to him for pushing through and then, leading the team to a Big Ten West division title, and then overall that Outback Bowl win, a couple years ago.
Okay. Now we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we can argue about the most important walk-on. Yeah. Who is the best walk-on currently? And like you said, Joel, I think a lot of people would gravitate toward J.J. Watt just because of what he's done, but you also made a great case for Jim Leonhard. Who is, in your opinion, the best walk-on, as opposed to the most important?
If I'm allowed to use the same one, I would say it was Jimmy again. But just for the simple sake of he was a 3-time All-American. There's not many people it is rare, and he's now tied or has the lead for most interceptions, and then went on to have a phenomenal career in the NFL. And I would agree. I would have no argument with J.J. Watt. I would have no argument with most other guys that have gone through the program, but for me, it's set a course of, hey, you can do this. And one thing that Mike Allen talked to us about in the book was that he just set a program. He set a precedent for the state of Wisconsin football players. Absolutely. And they said, hey, if this guy can do it, I can relate to that. And look at a guy like JJ now. He may be a little bit less relatable because of his physical stature and the success he's achieved, but a lot of people can still relate to Jim, not only because of his physical stature, but they can just say, hey, I can do it, I'm from a small town, and he sort of lifted the level of play in the state, and you see that then guys came through, Joe Stelmacher, Chris Maragos, Zach Hampton. You see these guys that continue to come on by. And now Leo Musso is not a walk-on, but was close to becoming one. And those guys in the secondary can obviously relate to that as well. So I still think he's the best one of all time.
Same thing, Jake?
Yeah, you have to go towards Jimmy, and not just because I cover him, but it's one of those things. You talk with him and you see just the impact that he made. The 3-time All-American, the career in the NFL. I would say second would be Watt. JJ, what you've seen from him when it comes to just the domination that he's had in his first few years. Obviously, this year's been rough with the surgery and being knocked out the rest of the year. And you saw the Players Tribune article about just exactly how much he went through. But I think JJ might have the best. He's definitely going to have the best NFL career, I would say, out of that. But even obscure story, maybe or not really obscure, but Mark Tosher, just with his NFL being really successful. 10 years in the league, over 100 games started, and really just. He was going to go play at Stevens Point for that matter. He's going to go up to until someone found him, and next thing you know, and he almost left too. He almost went to Youngstown State because of some eligibility that he thought he didn't have, and they found out he had it. And next thing you know, he's starting right tackle, and he's a Rose Bowl winner. And so we have a really fun story in the book about just how afterwards how he had a cigar on the field.
I have heard that story before, knowing Tausch.
It's a good one.
Trust me, it is a good one. Joel, Jake, thanks for the time, and good luck with the book. Walk On This Way is the book.
Yes, thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you.
That's us talking about Walk On This Way. Thanks for watching.